The words sliced through the cold morning air like lightning, unexpected, impossible, and yet filled with a kind of desperate hope. People on the crowded street paused, some turning their heads, others whispering as they watched a thin, dust-covered boy, no older than 12, stand trembling in front of a furious-looking millionaire and his tearful daughter on a wheelchair. The boy's voice shook, but his eyes didn't. They held something stronger than fear, something closer to faith. Backhand index pointing right before the story continues. If you believe in kindness, miracles, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring more inspiring stories like this to you. The girl on the wheelchair, maybe around 12 or 13, kept her hands clenched tightly together. It was clear she had cried for a long time. Her face was pale, her lips trembling, and her father, dressed in an expensive suit, looked as if the world had betrayed him. His business empire, fame, and wealth meant nothing compared to seeing his daughter unable to walk. She had once been vibrant, full of energy, but a sudden accident had taken her ability to stand, plunging her father into a silent war with fate. He had flown to top hospitals, consulted world-renowned doctors, and spent millions, but every answer had been the same: she may never walk again. And now, in the middle of the street, a poor boy with ragged clothes and worn-out shoes stood before him, making a promise that even medical giants could not. The millionaire tried to hide his frustration, but exhaustion made it slip into his voice. He asked the boy who he was, what he meant, but the boy simply stood taller, saying he knew something others didn't, and that he only needed a chance. The boy's name was Ayan. He lived in the poorest part of the city, in a broken wooden shack with leaking roofs. His mother washed clothes for people to survive, and Ayan often took up odd jobs. But people in his alley knew one thing: Ayan had a gift. Ever since he was 8, he had learned from an old street healer who everyone ignored. The healer taught him pressure points, muscle stimulation, traditional techniques, and the belief that some wounds were not physical, they were emotional chains tied tightly to suffering. When the old man passed away, Ayan carried those teachings like a treasure. He had seen the girl crying for days outside the big lawyer's office where her father went daily, and something inside him had urged him to step forward. Not because he wanted money, but because he couldn't bear watching someone his age trapped in pain. The millionaire hesitated at first, but desperation is a strange force, it makes you consider what logic rejects. And so, after long moments of silence, he agreed, but with a warning that pierced through the boy's heart: if you hurt her, even by mistake, I won't spare you. Ayan nodded. His voice was steady: I won't fail her, sir. He began visiting their mansion every morning. The staff looked at him with raised eyebrows, some even mocking him quietly, but Ayan ignored them. His focus was only on the girl, Hania. She barely spoke when he met her, still drowning in hopelessness. On the first day, she refused to cooperate, turning her face away. Ayan didn't blame her. Broken hearts do not heal in a day. He started gently, massaging her legs, identifying the nerves that had shut down from the trauma. He used warm cloths soaked in herbal mixtures the old healer had taught him, believing heat could awaken sleeping muscles. He pressed specific points on her feet and lower back with surprising precision for a child his age. Every day, Ayan arrived tired, often hungry, but he never complained. He told her little stories about hope, about how some flowers bloom even in the cracks of stones. Hania slowly began responding. Her lips twitched slightly at his jokes, her eyes softened, and she allowed him to continue his work without resistance. Weeks passed. The millionaire watched from afar, his heart confused. He wanted to trust the boy but feared disappointment. Still, something in Ayan's dedication felt different from anything money had ever bought him. One morning, during a therapy session, Ayan noticed a flicker, a tiny twitch in Hania's right foot. He froze, staring at her leg as if witnessing a miracle unfold. When he pressed again, the twitch repeated, stronger. Tears filled his eyes, but he didn't say a word. He simply looked at her with an excitement she had not seen in years. And then she felt it too. A faint movement. A faint spark of life. Hania gasped, covering her mouth. For the first time since the accident, hope returned to her eyes, not forced by her father, not expected by doctors, but real, gentle, trembling hope. Ayan spent the next days working harder, pushing himself even when exhaustion blurred his vision. Hania's legs slowly began waking up, nerve by nerve, movement by movement. Her father would come home early just to witness the progress, sitting quietly, sometimes wiping tears when no one noticed. 3 months after the day Ayan stopped them in the street, a crowd gathered in the mansion's backyard. The millionaire had called his doctor, some relatives, and the house staff, wanting witnesses for what he prayed would happen. Ayan stood beside Hania's wheelchair, his heart beating faster than it ever had. He whispered encouragement, reminding her that she wasn't alone. The girl nodded, her fingers trembling as she held the wheelchair arms. Then, slowly, painfully, courageously, she rose. Her legs shook. Her breath trembled. But she stood. A cry echoed through the air, her father fell to his knees, sobbing into his hands. The staff clapped, stunned. The doctor stood speechless. Hania let go of the armrest, took a step, stumbled forward, and Ayan caught her gently, tears streaming down both their faces. It wasn't a miracle of medicine. It was a miracle of humanity, of persistence, love, and a poor boy's unshakable belief. Backhand index pointing right. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us reach more people with inspiring stories. Before the story ends, tell us in the comments, do you believe kindness can change a life?